lovelies. This is like the second video in 2 or 3 days, so crazy, huh? Anyway, on the 20th of each month, Jacqie, who you may know as Jacqie Crafty on the interwebs, and her tagline, which is completely awesome and I can relate to, is something like, if it's not crooked I didn't make it. Yeah, anyway, she came up with this concept called IQ to kind of try and get a bunch of her fellow crafty types to stretch them by having some people in the Facebook group. She chooses somebody different each day for the first 7 days of the month to give a clue. That's why there's 7 prompts down here. And on the 20th of each month there is a hop, so I'm really hoping I'm going to get this edited and done and sorted in time for that, but if I don't, I'm really sorry. Having planned the layout a little bit ahead of time, which is not something I do often, I'm normally a fly by the seat of my pants kind of girl. I'm not necessarily going to be doing all these things in order. The other thing I'm going to be doing is working with this collection of papers. It's from a company called Thoughtful Studio, and their collections are either digital, some of them are either digital and physical copies from certain places. You can get physical printed copies, or this is a digital kit. It's called Tessa's Changing Seasons, and I think it's designed to sort of take you through from summer to autumn, so you can sort of see like things like ladybirds and mushrooms and, you know, leaves, all the autumny vibes. Well, I'm going to be scrapbooking spring photos with it. Crazy, huh? It's going to work, because sort of about this time of year I get reminded that my wedding album's looking awfully bare, so I'm going to be doing wedding photos. And red is a really predominant colour in my wedding. Just before I get into that though, you might notice that some of the printing is, and even the colouring is an absolute train wreck on some of these. It's got nothing to do with the quality of the digital images. It's got everything to do with my current printer, which, to put it very, very delicately, is a total butt. Yeah, but that's a whole nother story in itself. So I may have to come in with a bit of ink to sort of fix up the colouring or whatever. We'll see. We'll see how we go. It really hates the reds. The pattern papers, and there's a whole lot of them, are 8.5 by 11, so, or A4, which means I definitely need a background. So I've even pre-prepared with clear gesso, and I've used some of them. I've already chopped some of them down, because what I plan to do is, rather than use blocks of pattern paper, I pulled out the Big Shot and cut all these flower parts. I've got 3 or 4 different dies that do that, and also I've got leaves too somewhere, which I've conveniently forgotten about. They're over there somewhere. The reason I did that is because not only the red reminded me of my wedding, but a lot of the motifs, the first thing I thought about when I saw them, the colours, the motifs, reminded me of a little village in Ukraine, because my background is Ukrainian. My parents migrated to Australia when they were kids, so I'm first generation Aussie born. I kind of feel like a Yuki more so than an Aussie. Go figure. Oh, and you know what else? What's really funny is I married a Russian, like a proper legit Russian. So yeah, a lot of people are like, say what? That's kind of relevant, because for our wedding we had our flower girls and page boy wear their Ukrainian national costume, because these kids are all Yukis as well, and that's something they all had, and I had to put little stickers over their faces, because even though they're all grown up now and they look nothing like this, I haven't asked them or their parents whether I can show them all over the interweb, so I thought, yeah, better respect their privacy. So I'm using these 2. They're in black and white. I don't actually have coloured versions of them, because this is what they look like. This little one, who's taken her circlet of flowers off for this photo, that's kind of what they look like. They're often things like daisies, cornflowers, poppies. They're all kind of traditional Ukrainian type flowers, blues, reds, yellows, and they have all these coloured ribbons coming down the back. And they wear these beautifully embroidered shirts and all that kind of thing. So I'm going to do these for now, because you may have noticed that one of the prompts is multi-photo layout. And these kind of go together. So because I've got so many wedding photos to scrapbook, I'm just kind of splitting the stories up into various bits. And they're not going to be together in the album. This one's going to come much later. So I probably should talk about their outfits first, but I'm not, because chronologically these come first, and they're holding these teddies which look a bit weird, but there's a story behind it, I promise, and it all fits in. So that's what this is going to be. And the reason I mentioned the flowers is kind of at the back of my mind. I think that's what I was thinking when I was chopping all these up. So I'm going to do all these different layered flowers and leaves rather than my usual messy paper stacks. So yeah, all right, time to get started. Thank you for putting up with the long preamble, but I think it's something that kind of, you need the backstory for this, otherwise you'll be thinking she's lost her mind. I mean, you're probably thinking that anyway, but yeah. I'm going to need to do some mixed media. What I thought I would do is put a big block of paper in the middle, just to kind of, so they're not just flapping about in the breeze just by themselves. They need something to ground them, and I think that's where the wood grain's going to come in. I've got this bit, which is, our big box stores have these whole bunch of these American crafts papers, which are single-sided and printed on. They print them on this horribly thin, it's like copy paper type thin paper. It's not even single-sided paper pad thin. But there's a lot of patterns that I do like. Some of them I recognise, some of them I don't. So not sure what this one is. It might be a Pebbles one, because I know some of the Jen Hadfield tends to be a bit like this. But the dark brown, it kind of bridges the gap between the black and white, which this is a nod to. And so it, because sometimes when you use black and brown together, it just looks a bit weird. And I think the wood grain will complement the flowers as well. I do think, however, that these photos need a mat of some description. I will figure that out when I get there, but I think I'm going to move on to the mixed media first. I just need to kind of be mindful of where that's going to be sitting, so it's not all going to be hidden away. And I'm going to use the packaging technique because it's really high tech, and my level of skill can just about master it, and I'll see what else. It also says add stamping to the background, so while I'm at it, I'll probably do that. Okay, now I'm just going to use Distress ink. I also have absolutely no clue what colour to use, but the paper gave me a hint. There's not just this pink splatter, but for some bizarre reason, applying the gesso has really brought up that really faint ledger in the background, which is, I think, pink. Now, some of the Marie's papers are a darkish pink, but I do want to bring up in the pink a lot more because, I mean, why wouldn't you, right? Out the different flowers in order of the type and the size rather than the colour, because I want to stack them up from smallest to biggest within their colour, or like within the same colour. Does that make sense? Anyway, I thought that it would be easiest to do it like this, and that I can ink them up as I go. The other thing I want to do is there was use a punch on the list, and I've got this punch that makes even smaller flower parts and plenty of these scraps, so I might start by making some of those, and then I'll start stacking them while the background is drying. I've done my punching and I've cut this down. I think that's probably the size that I'm going to have it at. I'll probably put the photos kind of like this. I had put the flowers into sort of stacks and figured that I wouldn't bother inking them until I was ready to decide where they were going to go. So I have a date stamp without the year because I can't find a stamp that goes back to 2000. And even though it's kind of self-explanatory what the date was, I do like to put that on every page, usually in the form of, you know, all those number die cuts that you get in all the various die cut packs. I put a little 7 and a 10 somewhere because it was the 7th of October. So I'm just going to do the same with this. And I'm using distress ink on purpose because I don't need it to be completely clear. Actually, I think I want 3 in each area. Short. The journaling is not going to be super short. I could actually write it here with a white pen, but if I did that, I would definitely have to figure out where the flowers were going to go. But maybe a little journaling card would be a better idea. I figured while I was looking for something to journal on, I might as well put the journaling down, which I did. I found this in my October afternoon stuff. I'm not 100% sure whether it is, but it looks like something that might have come in their ephemera packs, and I'm not sure whether I'll tear off that bit or not. I also matted the photos on my favourite paper, this floral. I needed to leave a strip for the next layout that I'm going to do. Not the very next one, but sometime between now and the end of next month, I'll do that coloured image. The other thing I thought I'd do is if I move this all the way up, not all the way up, but say up to about there, or even there, I could probably put the title down here since it might be a bit big. It needs to be high enough to disguise all the testing that I did in the middle. Actually, I've got this bit. Now, something old is one of the prompts here, and this is from, pretty sure it's from Maggie Holmes' open book, maybe one of their die cut or vellum packs, or it might be one after that. But if it is, this would be about 2014. So does that count as something old? I don't know. If I put the title here, I can do a bit of an embellishment floral cluster, and that will be part of the title, and the rest I'll just do in smaller writing. Because these big bits, whether they're vellum or not, these words, I never find a good or easy way to use them. So I think I'm just going to give that, just going to say that's what I'm doing. And yeah, that being the case, how much room do I need? Yeah, probably will need to go up about that high. Okay, there we go. Let's get these guys down. I think I'll do it like this because that one's got more space and she's facing this way, so I'll put them on this side of the page. Look, I've already got pink paint on it. I haven't really left a lot of room, so I'm not going to stick that down until I'm sure. Now will be the time to pull out those flowers. forgot to turn the camera on twice. So, popped up the flowers with glue dots to give them some dimension and some foam. I added the rainbows from the Crepe Paper Magical Forest, chipboard and puffy sticker sheet, the bear from there as well. I forgot that I had cut apart a bunch of the ephemera from the Tessa's Changing Seasons collection, and I totally forgot that I did that. So ladybirds come from there, and I also cut a few Maggie Holmes cameras, not from there. Oh, and these partial labels here, here, here and there. This is not my day today. And gold mist, because otherwise this will be the only gold thing. So now I was going to put it on fast forward and put these on. The other thing is that I hated most of the ink that I had put on the flowers, so I didn't end up using those. I'll try and fix them because I have another layout. I'll use them in that. So I need to add some more pink stuff to make these weird pink bits not look quite so hideous, because they look pretty bad now. I mean, they didn't look great before, but now they look really bad. And there's not a whole lot I can do about that now that they're there. I've got my phrase and word stickers, which is number 6, and the word stickers and these gems and these little epoxy things, they're all 2012, 2013, 2014, so that will work as something old too. Then there are these Bella Boulevard hearts, which may or may not use, but it definitely will give me a bit more pink, and hearts and weddings. You get the connection. So 3. I am definitely leaning towards using this kind of pink because that's the kind of pink that is around. So maybe, where shall I put it? Here. I'll kind of tuck it in there so it can just sort of hide, because I don't love it now that I've put it down. I think it's necessary, but yeah. Okay, there's an arrow. Yeah, I think there's going to have to be pink in 3 places. I don't know exactly. That just looks weird, that little arrow there, but actually maybe I can swap them. I think maybe those can be the only 2 of that pink. Tempted to put them in the camera lenses. Could put pink ones in the camera lenses. Alright, well, look, it's not masking that somewhat disastrous pink that is everywhere, but you know, it's probably as good as we're going to get it. So use that. Now the phrases. This definitely didn't turn out quite the way I imagined that it was going to, but it's not a complete train wreck either. I hope it isn't anyway. So I'm going to take some still photos and put those in, at the end of the video. Not massively compos mentis today, but hopefully the next video will be much better. Please don't forget to check out everybody else who's playing along with Jacqie's IQ challenge and the details of that will be in the description box. I will link to the kit so you can see for yourself what the papers should look like when they're printed correctly, and I hope to see you back again soon. Bye!